For this section, I'd just like to introduce Sheila Grass, Payroll Project Manager, and Steve Camm, IT Functional Leader from Tulip, and of course David Bacon, our Head of Sales at Crown Computing. They're going to take you through the project at Tulip, including business impacts, lessons learned, and some great practice advice. We hope you sincerely find this very, very useful. Over to you, David. Thank you very much.
Could you please give us a little bit of background on Tulip as a business and the project as a whole, please?
We're one of the few businesses that do what they call farm to fork. We grow and rear our own pigs, process them through the 17 manufacturing sites, and supply the major retailers and the food service industry. What we discovered that all of our manufacturing sites, all of these companies, all ran a solution from Crown Computing. And I think the most advanced version we had was version 8 of Open Options. This kind of made Crown the obvious provider for our TNA solution at Tulip. You work with Crown to provide a single platform, a single piece of software, a single database. And that gave us the visibility really across the group.
Sheila, if I can move over to you. I mean, you led the project from an operational perspective.
That's correct.
A really large project, obviously working with IT and the rest of the business. How did you go about it, and kind of what were the main challenges you faced in that consolidation project?
So we needed to understand what our model was going to be. So we built our model, and then we went in really, and we actually looked at the type of existing sort of databases, looking at identifying the key elements that were already on these existing databases, looking for things that were going to be maybe legacy data, and using our platform that we already had put together to actually take the data that we needed, but in a way that we could then we could prefix it, we could make a central database actually to build on, because we had to think also about the future. So we had to think, well, if we're going to start pulling data off of old systems, we don't want to reduplicate it again and again from everyone that we went through the whole period. So what we did was we used some scripts with Crown's help to migrate the data that we needed. And basically what we did the whole exercise of reviewing each database. We prefixed what we wanted, what we didn't want. We used the scripts then to pull that through into the central database. We felt that we needed to make the sites as self-sufficient as possible. So we've got probably over 500 users now that use the system, and that can be anything from an HR person to a team leader to a factory manager. They all use it in a different way, so they all use it to the benefit of what they need the system for, which could be administration, it could be clocking, employees, it could just be reviewing data within a department for absence and so on. And I think when we did it like that, what we feel was we was actually making them take ownership of the system. So it was, it was no good them saying, well, I want to change this, I want to change that, and then coming back later and saying, well, I didn't want to do that. They were responsible for the day-to-day upkeep of it.
Obviously, a key facet of what you wanted to achieve was to standardise kind of labour reporting across the business. Have you been able to achieve that?
Yes, we did. I mean, that was one of the main goals, to make sure that actually, it was a vital part of the project, really. We very much said to sites, right, you need to have a central cost structure, because this then would allow reports to be pulled off in a way that they could be site, they could be direct, indirect, they could be department, right down to shift. So everything we receive is in a consistent format.
Yeah.
So, whereas sometimes if they're working on spreadsheets, you get it in one format for one site and then a different format for another site.
Different versions of the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it takes longer for the central teams who have to prepare all perhaps the KPI stuff than to sort that data into a format to put onto the main board.
Yeah, so I guess it tunes in a bit to what Mike was saying earlier about focusing more on productivity of information, comparing workforce data to production data, giving you real insight into the performance of the site and being able to compare it to other parts of the business. So, I mean, obviously, you had feedback, I'm sure, at the end of the project.
You did.
What sort of feedback did you get from the sponsors and the users?
Obviously, the sponsors, yes, excellent feedback, because obviously to them, they'd struggled for quite a lot of years, and obviously the more sites and the more companies that we sort of came involved with, I mean, their job to get data was obviously such hard work because, again, like we were saying, it was constantly coming from different formats. So they were excellent feedback from them when it was finished. They were like, yes, this is so much better.